chef, a content creator, a TV presenter, and a food vlogger. So I've been making food videos for almost 6 years now, and I started my journey actually with a food blog because I love food writing, I love coming up with recipes and sharing stories with people. And then eventually I got into presenting TV cooking shows, and in the end I really wanted to make my own content to share with everyone out there, so I started food vlogging. It's been a lot of trial and error. I've definitely made mistakes along the way, but I've also learned from them. So I hope I've gained enough knowledge and retained enough knowledge to be able to share some of the wisdom and some of the tips and tricks with all of you aspiring food vloggers. In today's video, I'll be covering my process when it comes to food vlogging, some of the essential equipment and gear, and also just little tips and tricks to make your food vlogging life a whole lot easier. So, let's get started. Hello from the other side of the frame. So this is what you don't usually see if you're watching one of my food videos. This is the setup that is great for food vlogging. I have my camera. This is a Canon M50 Mark II. It's set up on a tripod, and the tripod is actually on the kitchen island because that makes it close enough to me that I can use this awesome flip out screen to monitor what I'm actually filming. And then behind me, I have a light with a softbox on a light stand. The softbox is really important because it helps to diffuse the light and make it look really natural so you don't have any harsh lighting. I am using a mix of natural light and this artificial light because I have a big window on the side, so when the light comes in, I really need this light to help fill in any of those shadows and help light up my face and the food that's on the island. Back on this side of the kitchen, as you can probably tell, this kitchen is a little bit styled, but it goes with my persona of a home cook. So I like to keep a lot of the plates and the cups, or even some of my spices up on the shelf to give you the idea that this isn't too perfect, you know, that's not what I'm looking for. And that brings me to my next point. When you are starting to food vlog, you should definitely think about your persona. Are you more of a professional, exact, precise chef? In that case, the styling of your kitchen should match that. It can be clean, stainless steel. For me, it's warm, colorful, easygoing, and that is exactly what I want to get across. As I said, I have this big window on the left that's giving a lot of natural light to the kitchen, and that is why I really need that light in front of me to fill out my face. As you can see, it's well lit, and that's all thanks to the artificial light. But if that's not something that you have and you want to start easy with just natural light, I'm going to show you an alternative setup that I also use that just uses that window's natural light alone. This is my alternative natural light only setup. So the window is in front of me, and I have my Canon M50 on a vertical setup because this is actually what I use for my IGTV videos. So with food vlogging, you can think about all the different platforms that you want to use for your food vlogs. This is a really casual one that I like for IGTV, which is in vertical format. You can see the stove, and there's lots of nice natural light from the window. So the M50 makes it really easy to record vertically, and that's how I use this space. So even if you don't have an artificial light or a big light stand at home, this is totally how you can get started with your food vlogging journey. What do you think? Are you going to be a food vlogger one day? Yes! Now let's talk about some essential gear and equipment for food vlogging. Of course, the number one thing is the camera. I'm using the Canon M50 Mark II, and it has a bunch of features that are really useful for food vlogging. First of all, as I said earlier, the flip out screen is a must. Another very important feature that this camera has is autofocus, and a really good one. It has eye autofocus. That means that it's always going to make sure that your eyes are in focus. So your face is going to be really nice and sharp, whatever you're doing. Just now I showed you my vertical setup that I use for IGTV, but this camera also records in 4K. That means that even if I record like this in landscape, I can always crop in to vertical and it's still gonna stay really nice and sharp. The image quality is still gonna be there because it's in 4K. So that's something that you can think about, creating different aspect ratios for different platforms as a food blogger. You can see that I have my camera on a tripod. You really want something that you can take the camera off relatively easily, because how I shoot is I have it on the tripod for when I am shooting myself, and then I can take it off to do my little close-ups of the ingredients or of the cooking process. Having said that, there are different styles of food vlogging. You don't have to use a tripod if you don't want to. You can simply also just film yourself like this with the monitor out. And the fact that this M50 has image stabilization makes that really easy, because even if you're moving around the camera, the video is going to stay nice and stable and smooth. Another great thing about this camera that helps with food vlogging is that it takes interchangeable lenses. So you can take this lens off, change it to a lens that's great for close-ups. So you can use different lenses to create different feels and different images for different segments of your video. Good image quality is one thing, but I also like to think about audio quality. You can see that I have a shotgun mic mounted on top of the camera. The M50 takes an external mic input, so that's plugged in here. If you want to do a more wide setup, like the camera's further away, then you can think about getting one of these. This is just a wireless mic. I've got it clipped on here. And that just really helps to capture the sound of your voice. And if you're cooking, then the cooking that's happening right in front of you, you can get that kind of ASMR effect with the sizzling, the boiling, the chopping, and all of that. One thing that I will say you don't realize you need when you start food vlogging is lots of little bowls and saucers, like this one or this one. When you are cooking in real life, you just chuck things into the pot and you're chopping and you're going at the same time. You're not gonna lay out your ingredients nicely before you start cooking, unless you know you are a real perfectionist. But for food vlogging, you want to be able to prep your ingredients, style them nicely so that you can get your beautiful ingredient close-ups, really give that feeling of being close to the food to the audience. So make sure you collect a bunch of little bowls in different shapes, colors, sizes, and you'll have a nice collection ready for your food vlogging. My vlogging process starts with collecting lots of inspiration. When I'm browsing social media, I'll do the same thing. Like on Instagram, I have this folder and I basically save all of these ideas that inspire me. When I'm getting ready to shoot a vlog, then I go back to that list and all my folders of inspiration. I start to develop my ideas and refine them. And then the next step is to get the recipe down on paper. So I will create a document of the recipe, and then I will look at all the different steps. I'll highlight any steps that I think might be visually really appealing for a close-up. I'll highlight some steps or some ingredients that require a little bit more of a detailed explanation. If I think of any interesting tips or interesting facts about certain things that I want to include in the video, then I'll write that down, but only in point form. I don't tend to script myself because I really like to react very genuinely to what's happening in front of me in the kitchen, so that I can kind of go with the flow and comment on things as I go. And that applies to when things go wrong as well. So if my cat starts meowing in the middle of my video, I'll pick her up and show her to the camera. If something goes wrong or something gets burnt while I'm cooking, I will admit it and share that with the audience. On shoot day, I make sure to prepare a big majority of my ingredients before we start shooting. I mean, for something like garlic or onion, we've seen those being cut, chopped thousands of times. So if you don't have anything interesting to say about those ingredients, I tend to just prepare them ahead of time. For example though, if I have an ingredient that I really want to talk about, like this green chili padi, I'm going to be making Thai pasta. So I want to tell my audience that they can make it spicy, or they can make it not spicy, or they can make it super spicy. So I'm actually going to prep that on screen so that I can talk about it while dealing with the ingredient. When you start shooting, you want to take note of when you want to go in for close-ups. Something might be really beautiful, so just grab your camera, take some close-ups, get really close to the pot, close to the ingredients, and you can really, honestly, never have too much B-roll, which is just a term to mean the sort of additional video bits that you put on top of your main video. So that really helps with editing when you transition from one scene to another. You can go to a shot of a step or an ingredient, and that just makes the video flow better. Don't forget, we're separated from the audience by this camera. They can see everything, but they're not there with you. So really kind of share your experience with the audience. Describe everything, the smell, the sizzling, even if it smells funny or whatever, comment on that so that they feel like they're right there with you. Now I'm gonna get cooking so I can put all those tips and tricks into practice. Today I'm cooking a dish of Thai pasta with a fried egg. This is 100% my type of dish because it takes Asian flavors and ingredients, combines them with pasta, which I love, and tops it with a fried egg. I mean, you can't get any more perfect than that. To make this dish, we're gonna really make this quick. Get some oil in a wok, and then I'm going to add some chopped garlic, sliced red chili, and if you love spicy food like I do, just snip some of these small green chilies into the wok. It's smelling so good already, and there are only really 3 ingredients in there. Now I'm gonna add some vegetables. I am going to add some green capsicum. I love mushrooms. They are a classic Thai ingredient anyway, so some shimeji mushrooms or whatever you have in your fridge. Some halved cherry tomatoes. And then here's something you don't see in pasta very often. This is chai sim, but any leafy green will do. Season everything with oyster sauce and fish sauce, and then we're going to toss in the just cooked pasta. The last final touch is some beautiful aromatic basil leaves. Just toss them in right at the end, and then we are going to serve this. My Thai pasta is all done. It's smelling amazing. So I'm topping it off with a golden sunny side up fried egg. The all-important beauty shot is the thing that you need to get. I like to put my beauty shot of the complete dish right at the start of the food vlog to really grab the audience, make them realize that this is gonna be a delicious ride, and really draw them in to your video. I hope you've enjoyed all these little tips and tricks that I've shared the entire vlogging process. I just want to say that the most important thing is to really have fun with it. Enjoy the entire cooking and filming process, and that will come across in your vlogs. Think about who you are and really be yourself. Share that with your audience. Think of how you can transport them right into your kitchen by describing those smells, those sights, those tastes, and really bring them into your kitchen and feed them visually. You know what I mean? So I hope that you've learned a little bit about what keeps me going on my food vlogging journey, and I hope that you get started on yours too. Now, if you'll excuse me, it's time for me to taste this beautiful Thai pasta. Look at that. So good.